Mm-hmm.
Done.
All right, it looks like that just dropped my share. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
I can still see the island.
Okay, brilliant. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I apologize for being a few minutes late. We wanted to make sure that we had everyone introduced and recorded so that we know who attended this session. So my name is Ava Tweedy. I am on the Pathway support team. My actual current club that I'm Master Speakers, and I'm a treasurer for them, but I was also a district pathways guide. I thought that I could help out others learn more about pathways, understand how to navigate it. So I joined this team, and I'm very excited to talk to you today. And what we're doing is just an overview of pathways, getting started. I want to know what you are having troubles with, what you need explained, maybe someplace you've been confused. So I'm actually going to open up the floor right now to anyone on this call. Please, you can comment in the comment box. You can start speaking. Try not to speak over each other. And just give me some things that you would like to learn about or focus on. And we'll tailor this conversation to what you guys need.
I have one question that's come in from the chat.
Okay. Lorraine, I can't hear you again.
Oh, dear. I don't know. I will plug it in again and see if you can hear me even though I'm sorry.
Okay. I pulled up the question. So it looks like Julia has a question about how to download completed evaluation forms.
Yes.
And how to give people. So it looks like you want to know how to give people evaluations and how to download a completed form. We want to know, so Gabriella's still working on her CC. She hasn't started Pathways. So I've got a document for you, Gabriella, that I think will be really useful once you get started on Pathways. Feel free to speak up as well. You don't need to type.
I have a quick question. My name is Lamont from USAA Nightclub.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? My question is more about like, how does the Pathways start? Like, what is the guidelines? Just like competent communicator, can you kind of explain like what, you know, like what paths, like how you get to the next step and all that?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So we want to know a little bit about getting started, how to navigate the tool, and then we would like to talk a little bit about evaluations in more depth. Other comments or questions from the field? And of course, you can keep commenting on things you want to know as we go along. Okay, well, feel free to keep typing and interrupt me if you have any questions about what I'm showing you. But the first thing I want to show you is this document that is about to be communicated out to you. We're just working on final touches. And this is our welcome letter and getting started guide. So in here, we have a letter that you can read over. It's a welcome. This is particularly for new members. And then you just scroll down, you have some of our resources. So how many of you are aware that you could go to tmd55.org/pathways and access a lot of resources there? Have you guys heard of that before?
No.
No.
No. Oh no, well that's why we're here. So what's really awesome, we're actually redoing the site as well to make it a little bit more user-friendly, but you can still go to it right now and you can find all of our resources. So I'm about to screen. And so this is what happens when you go to tmd55.org/pathways. You see, if you scroll down to the bottom, we have several different resources here. And this will help you if you've yet to pick a path and you want to know what to do. There's this paths, core, and competencies, which has all of the paths and all of the projects, and every path. You can really decide what you want to take. And then we also have this reference guide, which has a whole lot of information that's going to help you understand what you need to do to get your DTM on this new program, how you navigate it, what core competencies are there. And so these are really great resources if you're still struggling to make that decision on which path to do or when to jump over into the new program. So in this document that we have that will be available online and should be getting sent out to you, we start with a very nice and happy getting started guide. It tells you how to go to Toastmasters, how to log in, where to find pathways, and let me know if I'm scrolling too fast. I want to make sure that with the lag you can still see what we're doing. It tells you how to pick your path and talks about the assessment. So once you do the assessment, which is a quiz that helps recommend a path for you, you select that you want to take that path. And you don't have to take the one that they recommend. You can learn all about them. Personally, for me, I looked at that core competencies document and I looked at the catalog and I decided what I was interested in. And then I took that assessment and it worked to reaffirm what I thought was what I wanted to do. So I did it on paper and said, yes, I want to do this. And then I did the quiz and it told me the same one. So it was really helpful for me to feel confident in my decision because I know it's not life or death, but for me, I wanted to make sure that I was following the right path. And so that was helpful. But you still can change your mind. So if you haven't picked a path, you have 30 days to decide whether you want to keep that or move forward for free. And you can always switch later, but you'll have to pay the $20 fee for that. And then just going through the document, it tells you how to get to Basecamp and a little bit of information about the different areas in Basecamp. So where you can go to get your feedback, where you can go to see your transcript. And I'm not going to go through this entire document because this will be sent out. I actually want to show you online. So here's this. And I'm going to go to actually Toastmasters.org. Any questions on TMD 55 pathways or that document I showed very briefly?
I had a quick question, Lamont from USA again.
Uh-huh.
So where does it show you how to draft your speech? You know how normal, like the CCC says, this is your speech, this is what you need to do.
Yep.
Is there anything like that for pathways?
Yes, it's actually more in depth. So in pathways, or in the Competent Communicator, your icebreaker is what, 9 pages? 10 pages maybe? In pathways, it's a 28-page PDF document. It is way more in depth and gives you a lot more resources that help you build your speech, understand what you need to do, tips and tricks. It's really awesome. So have you selected your path?
I have. I have selected my path, but I was just always worried, like, okay, how do you start with the introduction speech again and then start from, all over like the Competent Communicator, or do you just start from, is there like a certain way to, like, how do you know, like, when you're done and how many speeches you have to do?
Those are great questions. So I'm going to show you actually in real time. So in order to get to pathways, you go to the Toastmasters.org website, you click on the little pathways tab, and you can really access any of these. I'm just going to click on this one. It's going to ask me to log in. I'm going to say yes. And then it's going to take me to Basecamp. So here you can see which one you want to choose. If you're a member of multiple clubs, you would actually click here and you could pick which club you want to access their page for. If you're not in multiple clubs, don't worry about it. Just automatically click login as member. And here you'll see my Pathways program. So I'm on this page and I want to find where my path is. There's a few ways you can do it. The easiest way is by clicking on this box that says My Education Transcript. You can also scroll down and you'll see a snippet of your education transcript right here. I prefer clicking on the blue box because it's bigger and easier to see. And then once I do that, I need to open my path. So you'll see here I have a few other resources. You probably won't have those. Can someone please mute?
I'm muted off.
Or Lauren, can you please mute them?
I'm doing that. There it goes. There it goes. Oopsies. I have to unmute.
So when you're in here, I need to open my actual path. So I would click Open Curriculum. And here you can see, I'll click on level 1, the projects available to me. If you have not done your icebreaker, you will not be able to launch these other projects to see what those are about. They really want you to go in order by starting with your icebreaker. And then once you do that, you can jump around a little bit. But they really make you start first with that icebreaker. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like if you haven't seen it, you would click on launch, make sure that your pop-ups are enabled. And then once the screen pops up, you have this whole resource document at your disposal. As I said, it's a 28-page PDF when it loads. I need to be patient because I'm doing a video and it wants to know things. So right here at the very bottom, now it's going to go to the end because that's where I was. There is a button that says navigation, introduction, your assessment, and you can go through here and really follow it step by step online. Now, if you are not the most online savvy person and you just want to print this off and work on it on paper, you can. You go to your evaluation and you click on print my project. Note, you still must go in this program and take this after assessment. If you do not do that, it will not count this as completed. So yes, you can print and work on it on paper, but you must come online after you've given your speech and do this after assessment. This is just a way for you to benchmark yourself to see how you feel before the speech and after the speech. And to give you an idea, I'll just click on print my project and it's going to show up in a PDF. So sorry, it's a 23-page document, not 28, but it's still quite excellent. And you'll see here, I'll just scroll through, and I apologize if this is going a little quick. I don't know how the lag is. Talks about the different competencies you have, talks about how to organize your speech, which is a really great thing, and then it actually gives you an outline. So the old competent communicator for your icebreaker didn't have this. You didn't know how to organize your speech until you got to that speech. So I think that this is a great tool. I mean, you see here, it gives you tips and tricks on how to practice, tells you to enjoy, reminds you to overcome your anxiety. I mean, it's a really great resource. And at the end, you can actually see you have a project checklist. Schedule your speech, write your speech, rehearse your speech, and it actually gives you these guidelines on how to make your speech and how to present it. So that's just one of the things that we have in the new Pathways program that is pretty darn awesome, at least in my opinion. Anyone have any questions on launching your first project or launching any project and working through it? And some of you
Hello?
might- Yes.
Oh, you can hear me. This is Sherry in Kyle near Austin. And
Hi,
Lorraine
Sherry.
sent me an email that had 4 snippets of audio that were really helpful. 1 and 3 didn't work so well because it didn't go beyond a few seconds, but 2 and 4 were totally awesome. Like clicking on my name and I can get all the information about what path I'm on and so on. So I wanted to mention that. I don't know how people get to the snippets because I forgot. I did that last night.
So you can actually get to a lot of our snippets by going to that TMD55/pathways and
Okay.
clicking on the Getting Started in Pathways. And you can see here that there's some videos here talking about the district website, how to navigate it, flow. These are really great resources for you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And thank you for bringing it up. You got to help do my marketing for me.
All right, leadership, thank you so much. This is really helpful information. I mean, I never knew this was information we can use for our club. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're having these.
Oh, I'm glad too. Did that help you find the PDF and everything that you need?
Yes, very,
Wonderful.
very helpful. Thank you.
Oh,
Eva,
yes.
I know you're going to probably do this sometime during the session, but you might want to refer also to the tutorials and the resources, another way for them to look at the project's information.
I'm sorry, I was making sure that you want me to show the resources and projects?
No, tutorial
Oh, yes, of
and
course.
resources.
Yeah.
They can access the project guidelines or objectives from there too.
And they have a lot of online videos. So if you don't know, what Wafa is saying here is that you can click on tutorials and resources once you're in the Basecamp program. And you can search for whatever you want. If you have trouble on, hey, how do I open a project? You can search for projects. So if you go up here in your little search bar and you type in project, that's probably going to come up with a lot, but it has all these descriptions for managing projects. And I think if I type in level, maybe here, level's a better one. So see how I typed in level and see all these pop-ups? You see tutorials, you see this little one that has a computer icon. That is actually a video clip that helps you overcome that hurdle that you have. It's understanding how to complete the level or actually going through the steps of doing so. So that's a really great resource. Thank you, Afa, for that we have online in that search bar just in Basecamp. And you can also access it when you're at the home page. If you have yet to click into anything, you can search straight from the top, or you can go here to Navigating Basecamp and get some tips and tricks as well. Now, we talked about how to launch your first project. We mentioned that you cannot do anything basically until you finished your icebreaker, and that you must always complete that after assessment. There's another guideline that I want to mention real quick, and that is completing a level. You have to make sure that you submit a level completion request when you're finishing a level. So I had to come in here and mark my level 1 as complete so that it would send a note to my Basecamp manager, which again is your secretary, your president, or your VPE, in order to be able to access the next level. So here I can go in and now I can launch and activate my other projects. But until I completed that level, I couldn't do that. So that's just something to pay attention to. And sometimes you may try to complete it and it won't let you. And that's very likely due to the fact that you didn't finish one of these after quizzes. So always make sure that you have that little maroon checkbox and that it's showing completed in your status bar. And if you're a VPE, you can actually check on that through your Basecamp manager portal to see where a person's status is, to see if they have completed it like they thought they have, or if maybe they need to complete that quiz.
Quick question.
Yes.
Sorry to stop you, but
No, go ahead. I like it.
I'm the VPE of my group. How do I get access to that information so I can make sure my people are getting credit for these?
So you automatically have access to the Basecamp portal for Basecamp managers. We actually have some documents also on our Pathways page that will help you get through that kind of issue. So in this one here, it says Basecamp Manager Tutorial and Guide. You can go through and it gives you some tips and tricks. And there's also a Pathways called just like this one for Basecamp managers where they'll actually walk you through those steps. So even if you look at the guide and you're having a little bit of troubles, you can go and watch or attend one of our sessions and go one by one with someone and walk through those trouble areas. But it's actually pretty easy. All you have to do is you have to be a Basecamp manager. And when you're in Basecamp, you can search for a person's name. So for instance, I'm just going to type in one of my members. And you would go into their name and there will be an education transcript. So right here where it says his name, if I were a Basecamp manager, there would be one here that said transcript. And you can click on that and see exactly where they are. And you can also pull up some more of the resources on the Basecamp Manager portal. There's one that gives you a bar chart of where all your members are and which level or which path. And there's some great resources there. I just can't show you that right now with this access.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So if no one has any more questions about basic level completion or launching a path, I would like to talk a little bit about evaluations and feedback. Give everyone just a minute in case there's a last minute. No, wait.
One more question.
Yes.
Sorry.
No,
Okay,
go for
so
it. Go for it.
Do they get a certificate? So once they complete everything,
Uh-huh.
is it like a different certificate that will be mailed to them, emailed, or like what happens?
So it's not actually mailed to them until after they complete level 3. but they do get one online. So when I was in my, let me go back to mine. When I was in my education transcript, and if you saw when I was level 1, it said that level 1 completion, it lets me view my certificate right there. So my club actually printed them off on some really nice paper, and they handed them to me at the start of the club. So that was something pretty cool. Now it's not printed for you. So if you're a VPE, you're in the club, you want to award that to your members, I recommend printing it out on either a cardstock or a glossy paper and handing it to them. But once they reach level 3, they will get mailed those certificates.
Oh, great. That'd be awesome. I'll definitely do that for them. So awesome.
Okay.
Eva,
Yes.
can you tell them about the badge?
Yes. So that is part of multiple things. Mainly it's part of your evaluation feedback, but every path that you pick has this little icon next to it. And you saw it on my certificate. Let me pull that back up. And you can also see it in my badges. But you see that little, oh, well, that's just the one. Sorry. So when I go to home, you see this button here that says My Badges. So there are several badges in Basecamp. One is dependent upon the path that you're taking and the level that you're on, and another is a feedback badge, and those are my favorite. You can grant people badges like you give them a ribbon at a Toastmasters meeting for doing something or being some way that you thought was amazing. You can give them exceptional or inspirational or creative. And that's just another way that we want to reward our fellow members for doing a great job and show them the recognition that they deserve.
Quick question, another one. I'm sorry. Are there actual badges we can purchase, for these things? I know they're virtual here, but is there anything we can say, hey, Estes, here's a ribbon once past this level?
So right now they do have some ribbons for certain levels. I have not seen any buttons or anything for these, but hopefully they'll start doing those in the store. I think it'd be pretty cool. But right now all of them are virtual, and you can access them by looking at your profile, and I'll show you in just a minute how to grant those badges to people.
Ava, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, the level 1 through 5 is you can buy ribbons for those.
Right, but not actual little metal pins or.
Not metal pins, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can buy ribbons, but not.
Hello?
Right.
Hello.
Yeah, I had a question. I couldn't unmute myself, but
Oh, that's okay. What's your question?
so I've already given my icebreaker speech before I even chose a pathway. So verbally, I had thought that I was doing, I think, visible communication path, but now I looked at the snippets videos that you had, and so I went and took an assessment and decided on the, I think it's the dynamic leadership thing. So will I still get credit for the icebreaker speech I gave, or? So
on our website, we have a form here. Hopefully you can see it. So it says Pathways Icebreaker Project Completion Request Form. So you and your VPE need to work together and fill out that form, and then you send it in to Toastmasters International. They can manually grant you access or grant you credit for your icebreaker. Or if that's too much of a challenge, I think you can work with your VPE to accept your icebreaker because they know you've done it. It's just what you want to do, but this is the official way to do it. It just depends.
It's very, very easy to do. You download it, the request form, send it in, and it has to be within a certain length of time.
Yeah, so it's really easy. She says you just have to make sure that you've done it within a certain amount of time. So I would go in and look at this form. Again, this is on our tmd55.org/pathways.
Okay.
Actually, Lorraine, could you paste that URL into the chat window, please?
Sure.
And while she's doing that, Indira, all the paths have an icebreaker.
Yeah.
So the icebreaker that anybody gives really fits in any path.
Okay.
Now, my understanding is that you can still go after you select your path.
Mm-hmm.
You would take your pre-assessment,
Mm-hmm.
then you do the post-assessment. You submit the completion, your Basecamp manager will confirm completion, and then you'll get credit without having to fill out the form and send it to TI.
Yeah. That's the way we did it for a lot of our members. We kind of went around the formal
Yeah.
process.
Just pretend like you're going to do your icebreaker tomorrow and go through the process online. I know you have given your speech already. Do the post-assessment, and it will show that you completed the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do
I
that.
call that the unofficial way, but that's what we did in my club for some of our members who had just done their icebreaker right before it launched. And it was easier for us to go in and just say, oh, you did it 2 weeks ago. We'll just say you did it now, because that's not really, it's more a check and balance for us to make sure that everyone's following along and doing what they're supposed to do. But everyone in our club said, yes, we're okay with that. Do it, and not make them do their speech again.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea about this, that I had to do a form or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to help.
Okay, thank you.
So a lot of you guys had questions about the evaluations. First off, I'd like to show you where you can go get them. So not only are they in your project when you launch it and you can print that PDF and you can get to those resources, but they are also in this separate button here called speech evaluations. So on the homepage, you scroll down and click on that, and you can find all of the evaluations. So depending on which speech you're doing, it's easy to print off from here. Another thing I want to call out is right at the top, you see how it has these questions? They have Q&A built right into the page. So in case you forget what to do or how to do anything, you can go and click it. So how do I access my evaluation? It tells you. How do I give my evaluator access? It tells you. And it actually has a video here, which is pretty cool. So one of our comments was how to upload or how to download your evaluation. So depending on what you do in your club, there are a few methods I would recommend. For my club, we do not have computers on during the club meeting. So what we do is we print off that evaluation form. We have the evaluator fill it out, and then they give it to the person who gave the speech. So that person can upload it online. Alternatively, you can have a computer or a phone or a tablet open and be automatically editing the PDF online, and you can email it to the person you gave the speech for. Or you can upload it, thank you, Lorraine, you can upload it directly to their portfolio online and give them feedback with it. Or, these are quite a lot of methods here, you can fill out the paper one and scan it and send it to them. So there are several ways. What we do, which is easier, is the evaluator will fill out the printed form and give it to the speaker, who is then their responsibility to scan it and upload it. And we don't make them. We strongly recommend that they do that, but we don't make them do that because it does take a little bit more time. But just think that if you put your evaluation in your private portfolio online, it will be there. So you won't lose it. You can go back and look at it. And it's a great way to keep that benchmarking to see how you're doing as you move forward in the program. So how do I find that? Well, what's really cool is on the page, we have a button that says My Feedback. Real easy. You just click on that and you're taken to a place where you can upload your data or someone can upload feedback for you. So at the top, I have a feedback button and I have an e-portfolio. The e-portfolio is where I would go to upload a PDF or a JPEG or an image of my evaluation form so that I have it for my records. But you can see here, I have a comment from one of my club members who gave me feedback, and he gave me one of those cool badges. So that's going to follow my profile around with this really cute little star badge to make me feel awesome, because he went in to give me extra feedback. And you know, you don't have to be an officer to give people that kind of feedback. Anyone can do it, which is pretty cool. So say you were an evaluator and you have the evaluation form for the speaker and they ran out the room real quick and you didn't have a chance to give it to them. Instead of waiting till your next meeting, you decide, let me just take a picture and upload it to their profile. How would I do that? Well, let's just type in someone. Who should we go to? Should we try? I'll just do my club. So what's really cool about this, if you haven't played with the search bar, you can type in your club or your club number and you can search, and all these people that are showing up, these are all my club members. So it's really easy for me to find them even if I don't remember how to spell their name or what their last name is. So it's easy for me to go and click and say I want to click on Andre. I can go to his profile and I click on feedback. And I can give him feedback here. Now you'll note the second I clicked in this box, it expanded and pops up with a few options here. I'm hoping you can read that. In this page, I can type whatever feedback I want, whatever it is. I can choose who wants to see it. So I can let him see it, everyone see it, or, excuse me, only his managers. And again, this is not your work manager, this is your Basecamp manager, which is your president, your secretary, and your VPE. So in this case, I want everyone to see it, so let me click that. And then you see the paperclip? Here's where I could actually attach his evaluation. So if he gave his speech, I could click here and I can upload a file. Also, oops, you see how there's this cute little metal button? This is how I give him a badge. So you click on that and here are the badges available. And I've been told that we should be getting some more badges next year. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I'm hopeful. But right now you can pick on collaborative, courageous, exceptional, and you see that every time I'm hitting on them, it gives you a little bit of an explanation just in case you want to make sure you know which one you're giving. So I would click on that and I would say to post. And when I do that, it goes to his badges section that we looked at earlier, and it goes to his feedback page. Any questions on that?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Can we print these badges out as recognition, or they just?
Not that I know of.
I haven't, hold on. I haven't tried that, but I can't click on it, but I can save my image. Let me just test this. We're just going to save this in our Toastmasters folder, and we're going to open it, and it's going to open. Oh, look. So it opened this little bitty thing, but here, you know, to be a real creative VPE, what you could do is you could print off, I hope that didn't just freeze my computer. Okay. You can print this little one on sticker paper, and you can go around and sticker people, like label maker, like those stickers. That would be a really cool thing, and you've given me an idea, and I thank you for it, because that would be so cool to do in our club.
Okay.
We're all about recognition. So that's a really great way to do it.
When you get a star.
Right? It's like a gold star in kindergarten.
Right, exactly.
Or, you know, in college, whenever you get gold stars.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So did this answer, whose question was it? Julia. Julia, did that answer your question, or would you like me to go a little bit more in depth in the portfolio page?
It didn't quite answer my question.
Okay. So your question was about completed evaluation forms?
Right. My question was, I filled out an evaluation for someone, and I didn't fill it out during the meeting, but I went into the form and filled it out online after the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be able to send them, to email them the completed evaluation form.
Okay, we're using Adobe Acrobat?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're using, so most of these all of these evaluation forms are going to be in a PDF. The way to update or enter text into the form to make it a form as opposed to just a document, you have to have Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader editor. So when you're in that program, you would just need to click on Save. So say this was an editable form, which this is not because this is just Adobe Reader, not Acrobat. You would go in and you would say Save As, and then you could save it to your hard drive and you could email it to them or keep a copy. Maybe you had a folder that says, hey, evaluations I've given, and you want to put that in a folder. If you were editing it online in a web browser, it makes it a little bit more tricky, but there is still a save or an export option, and that's the way to save it with your data in the fields.
Okay, because I tried to do that and I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, if you run into that issue again, why don't you reach out to me? I'm going to put my email in here, and let me see if I can see what the problem is. I work with Acrobat a lot at work, or I used to. So I'll put my work email if it's during the day or my personal.
Have you ever tried, Eva, to save it as a Word doc?
I do not recommend exporting PDFs as Word documents. They normally mess up the format quite a bit, and it's very difficult to read what you've written. But that is an option. That's something that you can do.
That's what I do. And what
I usually convert it first before I fill it out.
Right.
Yeah, that's a way to get around that.
Play with them and see which one works for you.
Yeah, and it is a way to not have to have Acrobat. Another way you could do it, if you didn't want to go through those methods, you could actually take a snapshot and go and paint and write over things if you wanted. Whatever way works for you. But the good thing is that no matter which format it is, you can upload it into your document folder. So when you're in the homepage, you can click on your feedback, and then you go up on the top to ePortfolio. And then in your ePortfolio, you would click on documents. Now you'll see mine aren't here because I haven't actually scanned them. I have a briefcase folder thing that has all of my Toastmaster documents. I'm a really odd paper person, so I like to have them there. But I will, now that I completed my level 1, I'm going to go in and scan all those documents, and I'm going to put them in my level 1 folder. Now all these have already been created for me, which is really cool. I don't have to go and do it. And I would just go in, click on level 1, and I would add my file. So this is where you can scan any comments that people have given you. You can upload your actual evaluation form, whatever it is. Maybe you took a picture and you want to put it in here. It's your archive. It's where you can put your data, and it's a really great way to store that.
I do it differently. What I do is I will take the speech evaluation and I'll download it to my computer. Then I can write on it and I can save it, and then I just email it to the person and they can take that and put it into their document file.
Yeah, like I said, there's several ways to do it. It just depends on what you want to do in your club. For us, we like to have them there in paper, and we give it to the responsibility of the speaker, so we're not adding more responsibilities to the evaluator. But it just depends. If you want your evaluator to have a little bit more responsibility, just be like, hey, look, your job is to send it to them electronically or whatever it is. And that's up for you and your club to decide. Take a vote, decide what you want to do, and move forward with that process.
But if you do want to type on it, you need to type on it on a downloadable document, not on the one that's on TI, because that won't save.
Yeah, always download the PDFs. That is my rule of thumb. Even for all of the levels, download the PDFs. So who else has some questions or other things that they want to talk about?
Eva, this is Wafa. Would you please go over the evaluation and feedback project, since it has 3 elements? Some people might not know that they need to complete all 3 of them to complete the project.
It is a tricky one, isn't it? So just by a poll, because I want to make sure none of you guys are falling asleep, who has completed or started working on their second project? Speak up, raise a hand. And you can actually raise a hand in this, which is pretty cool.
We have one person who's raised their hand.
Indira, I think she completed
Yeah.
the project too.
I think she's on mute. Someone unmute her?
Yeah, she's
Here.
on mute.
There you go. I unmuted you.
Okay. I was just wondering, were you talking about level 1 project?
Yeah, the project 2 and level 1, which
Okay.
is your evaluation and feedback project.
Yeah, I have to start on that. I promise that I'll do it on November 29th. I still haven't gotten started.
Well, let's get you in there. And one thing that, and Wafa pointed out, it's very tricky, is it looks like it's maybe one speech because it's one project, one line item. It is not.
Uh-oh.
Your evaluation and feedback project requires that you give a speech, get evaluated on that speech, and either give that same speech again, showing what you learned, or just give any other speech, again, incorporating that feedback. It's testing how you can listen and improve, how you take criticism and how you adapt. And also, once you've done that, it requires that you be an evaluator, that you test your skills giving someone else feedback and show how your listening skills are. It's a really awesome project. It's actually my favorite project so far. I mean, I'm not very far, obviously, but I think that's really cool because we all need to learn how to hear criticism and how to make those changes. I mean, that's what we do in most of our everyday lives. So that's a really, really cool project, but just make sure that you give one speech, you get evaluated, you give a second speech, and that you get evaluated being an evaluator. So not only do you have to give an evaluation, but there's a little form that you have to have someone fill out. Now, we recommend that your general evaluator, who's already giving an overall evaluation of the club, that they can fill out that form for you.
Okay.
But if it's not him or her, just make sure someone does it, because it's a required piece that you learn how you were as an evaluator, that you can evaluate your own evaluation in a way.
So Eva, can you launch that project and show them where the forms are?
Sure.
The
Well, I'll
evaluating.
show you multiple places.
The drop down arrow.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way for people to know that there's another way to get all the information about your project.
There's several ways to get information about your projects. So not only can I click here in my evaluation and feedback when I'm in my transcript, so you would go in here, you would launch it, you would wait till the little pop-up pops up, and then you could go and find your resources there. Come on, pop up. Where are you? There you go. But you can find those evaluation forms that we were discussing on that evaluation homepage button. And you can also find it in a tabular version of your transcript. So here, if you go to your evaluation, you can see you have your first speech form, your second speech, and your evaluator all right here, all ready to go, really easy to find. My first step whenever I'm doing any project is to go immediately to the evaluation page so I can print these or save these PDFs. So yes, you can find it here. You can also, if I go to my home page, you can find those forms by clicking on speech evaluations and scrolling down so you see them right here. And if you actually click on, so in your education transcript, you see how we're constantly clicking open curriculum? You can click on the words and up pops a tabular version of your transcript. So you see here exactly what we need to do and whether you've done it or not. And this is a really great way to help track your progress. And I can expand that one, and it tells me about the project that I'm in as well. So project addresses the skills that you need applying feedback, and you can launch it directly from there.
Eva, can you please go back and show us how you got to this page?
I can show you again, sure. So when you're on the home page, You can click on education transcript.
Right.
And now you have two options. One is to open the online version where you can take the courses.
Mm-hmm.
Another is to go directly to that tabular version. So that's by clicking on the words.
Okay.
And this is just a great way because you can see what I've done. You can see whether it's completed, whether it's in progress. You can see whether it's just a PDF or whether it actually requires me to go online and take one of those assessments. And it gives you the details. So you can click on those and get information. So you see how I just clicked on evaluation and feedback. It tells me how many times I've viewed it, when I accessed it, whether it's complete or not, which is pretty cool. Sometimes a little bit more than you need to know, but it's a great way to just double check to see where you are and where your status is. Most of the time, however, I go straight to my actual curriculum. So I'll go through the transcript and I'll open it because it's easier for me to see that way. And I would just open the project. So I would go into launch.
Okay, so
If I'm clicking very quickly, I've done this a few times.
okay, so say I am done with level 1 and I'm curious to see what's in level 2. Can you hover over that and show them how they can view what's
so let me show you actually what level 3 would look like for me because I've already opened level 2.
Okay.
So level 3, you see how I can't actually click on this stuff yet? That's because I have not clicked on my level 2 completion request. So that'll be the same thing for you if you're in level 1 and you have not clicked the level 1 completion. When you go into level 2, you're not able to see these buttons lit up and you can't open them. So they try to make sure that you finish one level before you start another one. So again, I can't just jump from level 1 to level 3 because it's not letting me launch. There's no launch button to figure out how to take that negotiation project.
And would you please go over the benefit of going in the order of the projects?
The benefit of doing what with projects?
Going in the order of the projects.
Yeah.
They don't let us skip.
So I don't know how many of you followed when you were doing your competent communicator, if you've been a member for a while. A lot of people in their competent communicator had a tendency to jump around. While you are able to jump around when you're in a level, it is strongly suggested that you go in order. There's a reason why one project would come before another. So for level 1, you really want to learn how to evaluate and get feedback before you go into a more in-depth speech like researching. And in level 2, for my case, which I'm doing a dynamic leadership path, I really should understand my leadership style before I go into my communication style, because that will influence how I can do that speech or how I'll understand that next project. I can't understand how I'm communicating before I understand how I lead. And so that's a really great way to just reiterate the fact that some of these need to go in a particular order. Now, if you're not ready for something, you can jump around, but we do suggest that you follow this order as it is, 1, 2, and 3. Wafa, do you have any other insights you'd like to add for going in order?
It's just that there are competencies that really prepares us for the next projects and the next level. Mm-hmm. If we skip them, we will not be prepared to tackle the next level. As for those who have finished level 1, I think level 1 is pretty easy, but as you advance, the project gets more complex.
Right.
So you really want to acquire the skills and the experience so you can be well prepared to work on the next level.
Yeah. I mean, just like I would not want to complete my 5th level or any of these projects that require a lot of work and a lot more in-depth study and presentation before I've done the first one. They really want you to go in order so they actually make it required. And I think that's a great way for us to measure our success and understand the program. Well, I think we have 7 minutes left, so I'd like to open up the floor to any questions about anything at all regarding pathways.
Before you do that, Eva, can you please briefly touch on the computer compatibility, the top tab?
Yep. So that is also mentioned in the document that we have. And one thing I said is that you have to make sure that you have pop-ups enabled. Everything I've been doing when I click on launch pops up in that little box. If you do not have pop-ups enabled, you're not going to see anything. And you're going to be clicking and clicking and clicking and nothing's going to happen. So you can come up here and you can click on check compatibility. And it's going to check your JavaScript. It's going to make sure that your pop-ups are enabled. And it's going to tell you whether the browser you're using is recommended or not. I tend to use Chrome. That's something I like for bigger files, but you can use anything that you want. And it's just going to go in here and it's going to check on my file and it's going to take a minute. There. And so it's going and it's saying I'm green and everything. I have a few issues with pop-up blockers, but I've enabled it for this site in particular, so we're all good there. So you just want everything to be green or a light yellow, nothing in red. So again, from any page, just click on check compatibility. And one thing to note about Basecamp is you cannot click on these directly. So I click on home, I'm not going anywhere. You actually have to click on the drop down. So just get used to that. You can't click direct. You must always go down and click that first level.
Ava, would you click on the pop-up blocker so that you can see that they explain what to do?
Yeah. So when you click inside the window, it gives you the little warning and says, hey, you might have some issues. Here's something you can do. So for me, even though it's coming up with that warning, I have no problems because I've enabled pop-ups for this site. But it's telling me that I may have a problem if I'm not seeing something. And you can do that for anything. So PDF reader, it says I'm good. Cookies, it says I'm good. So whenever you have an issue, it does tell you how to fix it. Mainly it's a pop-up thing. Everything else should be up to date as long as you keep your computer relatively up to date. Okay, I think we have time for any last minute comments or questions. Anything you want to see real quick?
Julia, I have one more question.
Yes?
I understand that it's important to do the projects in order, but suppose I just want to have an overview of what the projects are and the higher levels of my path. Is there a way to know?
So there are several ways to do that. And I'll give you 2 of them real quick. So let's see, I had what? Wasn't managing change or something. So here, I just searched for managing. You see how it popped up with all these descriptions? So I can go in here and open managing time. Maybe that's one of my projects. And it gives you a very small, it's going to get here. So it's going to pop up here with that project description. Now it's not very big, but it at least gives you an idea of what it entails. Okay. Another way, if you don't want to search one by one, on our website, I talked about this paths and core competencies document. This is my favorite document, and it has everything that you need. So if I scroll down and I go to my dynamic leadership, it talks about all the different paths and, all the different projects that I have. And then if you scroll, I'm going to jump quite a bit. But if you scroll down, where is it? Come on. Oh, no. So this one talks about all of these projects, but we have the other one, sorry, that has every single one detailed out. I think it was actually this one.
Higher. There it is. Reference guide.
Sorry. I have some saved on my computer that have different titles than what we have on our website. But what's really cool, you go to this one and you can scroll down. You can see this is telling you which projects are in each path, which is really cool. And it's a visual way to do it. So you know if you're really interested in one thing, you know which path it has. And then if you scroll down, you should get to all of the descriptions, right?
Alphabetically.
Yeah. So managing change, making connections through networking, they're all in here. And again, that's on our TMD 55 page.
Can you go back to your levels in your transcript?
Yep.
Okay, now check out probably level 3. Click on level 3.
The mentoring program?
See where it says view details, it says elective projects to the right, and it says view details. Click on that.
Yeah, that's a way to pick which of the ones are available for me. If you want to see them in this manner, I like the PDF, it's easier. But this is a way that you can see them as well, and then you can look those up. All right, well, I think that has to be time for us, you guys.
Oh, wait, could I just ask one question? What was that website that had the 55 in it? Because I didn't write it down and I need to find it.
It should be in your chat window, but it's TMD, so that's Toastmasters District 55.org, and that's our website for our entire district,
Okay.
/pathways.
/path. Thank you. Thank you for doing this too. I really do appreciate this.
Yeah, no, we really want to be here to help you. And we have some really cool resources. We have one, and I know it's time, but we've got one here that helps you go through your own status. So you can check it off and you can see what you've done, and it just makes sure that you've done what you need to do in order to get that completion. And it's a really cool resource, and that's available on our website as well as the other classes. So say you've done this one and you forget everything because you were tired and you want to do have another session on December 20th and one on January 17th. And like I said, for Lamont, if you want to do a Basecamp manager training and get more details on that end, we have these sessions as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's at tmd55.org/pathways-training. And there you can see those resources I was just showing you with the checklist.
This is Wafa. Would you please inform me or share this information with your club members? We would love to help as many as we could. And if you find this session valuable to you, please share this with your club members so they can join the next sessions.
Definitely will.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye, everyone. I'm going to close the meeting.